Welcome to Veggie Fest. I'm Kenny Dougal. I'm very happy to have all of you here. This is the 15th annual Veggie Fest, and we are so excited that so many of you guys showed up. Now, today I'm very excited to introduce to all of you Dr. Craig Liebenson. He's traveled all the way here from LA, and he is the founder of the First Principles of Movement and the director of the LA Sports and Spine, a clinic based on pain management, rehabilitation, and performance enhancement. He's an adjunct professor in the School of Chiropractics, the Division of Health Sciences at Murdoch University in Perth, Australia. He is a consultant for the Anglo-European Chiropractic College. He has so many credentials, it's hard to get to all of them. I'm sorry. He is the first healthcare provider in the entire state of California to receive a certification of recognition from the National Committee of Quality Assurance on achievement of recognition for delivery of quality back pain. He's engaged in research as a visiting scholar at the Professor Stuart McGill Spine Biomechanics Laboratory in the University of Waterloo. He's the first ever chiropractic member of the McKenzie Institute, a U.S. board of directors, and serves on the editorial board of many journals, including the Journal of Occupational Rehab, the PM&R Journal of Injury, Function and Rehab, and others. I'm in the field of PM&R, and it's always wonderful to see when Dr. Liebenson's new research is out there for all of us to benefit from. His talk today is entitled How to Make Your Health Span Last Your Lifespan. The best time to invest in your health is right now. Personally, I've had the pleasure of training with Dr. Liebenson myself. He is phenomenal. He has a fund of information, and he's very practical. And I always like to tell people this, hey, if Kobe Bryant trusted this man with his body, we can too. Let's give Dr. Liebenson a very warm welcome.
Thank you. Kenny G, thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Everybody stand up just for a quick sec. I'm going to be sharing a bunch of stories from patients of mine. And just as a little aside, obviously you can find inner peace, but your body can still ache. And so during this talk, I want to make sure that we all stay loose and stay limber. So everybody raise your arms up, take a big breath in, get on your tippy toes, and now let it go and shake it off, shake it off. Use your legs too. All right, have a seat. I'm going to roll through some slides here. The talks yesterday on conscious living have a through line with what I'm going to be presenting about mental and physical, emotional, and spiritual health. They're all tied together. And in the stories about my patients, hopefully you'll get to glean how people can rediscover their own inner empowerment. I see people every single day. I'm very, very fortunate. I've been doing this for 35 years. I see people every single day who come in having been told things that are not true. I used to try to fix people. I learned that I can't do that. I learned that the power is within each and every one of you, and that my job is to be a sidekick, to be a Sherpa, and to guide by the side so that you can become empowered. And to do that, I want to share with you a series of examples about how to become more psychologically resilient and to develop key physiological adaptations requires that I help you become confident. So that's on me. My job is to create an environment, to shepherd an environment, to create an architecture where people have something very, very basic and fundamental. I even consider it their right when they walk in to a healthcare professional's office. It's the right to have a positive experience with movement. In other words, nobody is laying on my table. I do hands-free chiropractic. I'm teaching people what they can do for themselves. This talk is obviously about lifespan and health span, and a couple interesting things. We're living longer, but we're definitely not living better. So there's a little bit of a fool's gold in this. We know we're living longer, but we're absolutely not living better. Diabetes has gone from 1% to 10%. It's on the way to 50% by 2050. We have adult onset diabetes, which Kenny spoke about yesterday, in children, not the genetic type of diabetes. We have an epidemic of childhood obesity. And so I'm going to unpack a few of the data points just to lock this in so that we're clear and have a foundation on why there's a swerve now, why we're pivoting from fixing people with shots and pills and surgeries, why we're not just doing massage and stretching, and why we're inviting people to see how strong they are, how robust they are, so that they can become more psychologically resilient while developing the physiological armor to bank muscle deposits so that they can be strong throughout their lifespan, because it ain't easy to get old. My father just passed away. Johnny knows this, Doug knows this. My father died just 2 weeks ago to this day on his 100th birthday. Now that's a blessing. He died at 4 a.m, peacefully, but he told me for years, he goes, getting old is not for the weak. So I've taken that to heart. So our concept of aging has changed. Instead of worrying about how long we live, our lifespan, we now worry about the quality of our life, our function. And so every person that walks in to see me, I ask them, what matters to you? I don't have all the answers. I let them lead the way. And that question is a completely different question than I ever would have asked before. I would have said, where does it hurt? But not everybody is worried about pain. People often accept pain. And I don't want them to take a fix-it mentality. People can cope with discomfort. I want to find out what they don't tolerate. And most important, I want to know how it's impacting what they value. Like, I can't sit cross-legged. I can't walk my dog. I don't feel that my son-in-law trusts me to babysit for the grandchildren. I want to go on a trip. I'm 70 years old. I should be able to go on a trip. I've saved up for this trip. All of a sudden, I've been told I've hit an expiration date, that I have wear and tear, and it's a fait accompli. So we want to change that narrative. Life expectancy after the age of 65 has nearly doubled. Meaning, about 60 years ago, 70 years ago, if you were 65, odds were maybe you'd reach about 75, 77. Today, the average person who reaches 65 is going to reach 90, but we are not healthier. So now take all those extra years, that's a gap. That's called the health span, lifespan gap. That's a gap of disability where you're not able to take care of grandchildren. You're not able to take care of a spouse. I'm going to show you a story of a woman I work with. She's a lawyer. She's in her late 70s. She has a grandson who's special needs. She has a husband who was recruited by Harvard to be a professor there. He's a big wheel. He now has Alzheimer's. He's fallen very far. She's responsible for helping her husband and also helping her daughter with her special needs child. Do you think she wants to mail it in when she has sciatica? When she falls and fractures her pubic bone in 2 places? Real story. You're going to meet her today. So health span is more important than lifespan, I would argue. I don't really want to live if I'm not functional. The modern healthcare system is amazing at preventing sick people from dying. No qualms there. No qualms. However, it's terrible at preventing healthy people from getting sick. So where you have to be mindful is there's a lot of, I hope I can speak freely here, BS out there. Normally I use other language. There's a lot, we're inundated. There's an avalanche of information and there is no way to discern the wheat from the chaff. It takes having a skeptical eye and developing a foundation. I follow what's called the Pareto principle. The Pareto principle means 20% of things out there are legit, 80% is crap. Your job is to be able to sniff that out. And that's not easy. So people see me to sort out the wheat from the chaff. So how did health span fail to keep pace with lifespan? The problem, well, it's a false premise, as we've already said. We know how to fix things, but we don't know how to prevent things. We don't invest ahead like Warren Buffett style. And so one of the keystones for my talk today is on how to build lean muscle mass. And all the women in the room here, you know about bone density. But what we want you to learn about is about lean muscle mass. The greatest risk that can, no pun intended, befall you in your 70s is a fall. And when you stumble, whether you fall or not, has everything to do with not only your muscle mass, not only your muscle strength, but the speed of those contractions, how quickly they arrest the fall, which is called power. And nobody is training this. We want to change that narrative. And what we're seeing is there now are legions of women doctors, Gabrielle Lyons and Stacy Sims being just two, to name two off the top of my head. But I want you to begin to tune into some of these people who are positive health ambassadors of a different message, where it's not about medication, it's not about passive physical therapy, it's not about foam rolling and doing yellow band exercises, it's not about thinking you're fragile and you have a degenerative problem. It's not wear and tear, it's wear and repair. What you want is to find a safe entry point and then to gradually expose yourself to more stress stimuli. No different than meditation. When I started to meditate, I couldn't meditate for 30 seconds. Well, this is a bad example because I still can't still my mind for 30 seconds, okay? But I finally am able to do it. If I invest like 5 or 10 minutes in the morning with the app, okay, I actually can at some point catch a flow state where for 5 seconds, I'm not thinking about, oh, I'm still. Later, I go, ooh, I was still. Like that never happened before when I sleep-itated. So we're in a worldwide inactivity crisis. The World Health Organization has recognized this. They put a target on it. They said by 2025, we want to have 25% fewer people sedentary in the world. Well, they failed. They failed miserably. They've redirected. They're chasing 2030 now. One of the reasons they failed is because of something called vested interests. Everybody here knows about profit over people, how people are chasing the money, the dollar. And we see that with influencers and optimizers. And that's really why your job is so hard, to consume information and know what is not BS, what is not just trying to take money out of your pocket and shift it. The best people are teaching you what to do for yourself, and the best people are the most conservative. Those are two clues to bank. We have a study on Danish children that shows those who were not recreationally active when they were young adults or teenagers or older adolescents were more likely to be disabled later in life. This was a large study on over 1 million people, 1.2 million people. So at Harvard, they've concluded that there is evidence from national studies that people who are now in their 30s and 40s, so let's fast forward to middle age, may actually be in worse shape today than people that age were a generation ago. So we're not just keeping people longer, we're actually making people sicker at the same time. How is that possible? It doesn't add up. Well, it does when you think about the miracle of cardiovascular medicine, when you think about the miracle of precision oncology, when you think about the miracle of the reduction in infant mortality in the poorest parts of the world. We have helped in so many areas. But across the board in general population, we see obesity, we see diabetes, we see sedentarism, and this is catching up with us because now we're living so much longer, and we're living longer without having the lean muscle. And what happens in the final chapter of life? People lose at an accelerated rate their lean muscle mass, and they become what? They become frail. I want to tell you that frailty, which I thought when I went to school was inevitable, is not inevitable. We have a study that was published after the pandemic. A study was done during the pandemic on 91 to 97-year-olds. They were given 3 months of the same supervised exercise that Jonathan was exposed to at Stevens Naperville training facility, not physical therapy. For us, training equals healthcare. If you are consistent, if you find a community, and this is what it's all about, this is the secret sauce, finding a community where you can consistently feel supported, where you're not being scared, where you feel safe. There's a safe entry point, and yet it's progressive. If you consistently add on, you eventually develop these physiological changes. You build the armor that is your muscle mass bank account, which helps you become more robust. So you're there for everybody else that you want to serve. Here you see how things kind of changed. Around the time of Bill Gates' great success, we began sitting a lot more. And with the iPhone, with Stephen Jobs' success, even worse. I'm going to share with you now a video of Stephen Hawking talking about the impact of this.
At the moment, humanity faces a major challenge, and millions of lives are in danger. As a cosmologist, I see the world as a whole, and I am here to address one of the most serious public health problems of the 21st century. Today, too many people die from complications related to overweight and obesity. We eat too much and move too little. Fortunately, the solution is simple: more physical activity and change in diet. It's not rocket science. And for what it's worth, how being sedentary has become a major health problem is beyond my understanding.
The world's smartest man thought this behavioral issue of people eating too much, which Kenny talked about yesterday, and moving too little, the reason why that behavior change occurred was beyond his comprehension. I think what he didn't understand is behavioral economics. He didn't understand vested interests. He didn't understand that even though we evolved to be moving a lot in order to survive through hunting and gathering, that now everything is right there for us. First, it was salt, then it was refrigeration, then it was 7-Eleven, now it's Uber Eats. It's too easy. And naturally, we evolved, we are wired to conserve energy. And this has created a double whammy. The easy availability of what we need to survive, and the fact that we are basically wired to conserve energy means that we have to have a community that is constantly encouraging us and supporting us to do the things that are necessary for the final third of our life. And I want to encourage all of you to invest, but don't think you can do it alone. One of the biggest lies are New Year's resolutions. Another big lie is that it's willpower. It's not willpower. Willpower cannot overcome all of these temptations of the five senses. It is impossible. You need a supportive community, such as we have here. So biological age is what I try to change. I can't change a person's chronological age, but my pact, I ask people, when's your next birthday? And I promise them, by your next birthday, you'll be blowing out fewer candles than your last. And I know this because I know that they're going to begin to pivot towards more consistent physical activity, whether it's pickleball, whether it's walking, whether it's hiking, whether it's biking, whether it's lifting weights. I know that with my team, with our collaboration with people, we can get more consistent participation in physical activity. And that is the biggest rock of all. That is the number one rock. Stress is important, sleep is important, diet is important, social connection may be equally important, avoiding substances is important. All these things are important. But if I can get people moving again, and in fact, on that note, everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. I gotta go rogue here, you guys. Okay, so what I want you to do, and this is especially for the postmenopausal women, okay? You need a little bit of jumping in your life, like when you were 7 years old and you played hopscotch. You notice there's no chalk anymore? There's no colored chalk on sidewalks? What have we done? We have actually designed out of our world, our lived environment, the very behaviors that would keep people active. I want you all just to jump up and down. Just jump up and down. Doesn't it feel good? Now relax. Take another breath in, big breath in. Take in all the positive energy. Now shake out all the debris, all the waste, all the waste. Big breath in. And let it go slow. All we need to do is a micro break. The motion is the lotion. Have a seat. So I'm going to share with you a video.
I'm 87 years old. I don't feel 87. I don't think 87. Old age is supposed to be is no longer. I feel like and think like I'm still 60, sometimes 50, and sometimes 22. The most important thing as you get older, you have to stay involved. You have to use your brain, interacting with other people, which is one of the most important things. It has to do up here. Do I have things wrong with me? Of course I do. So what? Everybody's got stuff there. I'm lucky. I get up every morning. I know who I am. I know where I am. And I have a purpose. Be involved with the world. Be aware. Be able to have conversations with younger people. Not be stuck in, I'm old. It's terrible. Screw it. Get up and move your, your fucking body. Take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. Part of the world.
Pretty simple. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And we have so many examples like that. So this is a slide I want you to kind of brand. I want you to take a minute and just look at it. This is the course of a normal life. And what we see is that we lose our capacity. We start to lose it at around 30. But if you look at the green line, if you have a swerve, if you change your lifestyles, you can actually regain back some of what you've lost in your middle years. Later in years, it's never too late. And if you've always invested, you have this incredible cushion. You have a buffer zone so that you can stay above the line where you lose your independence. This is all about independence. I'm not talking about the real independence that comes within, but it's important too that you're able to serve people, that you're able to take care of loved ones, that you're able to pursue your hobbies and your interests because they make you a well-rounded person. That makes you a person that other people will look up to. You become an example. The most important thing is to be an example, to be an embodiment. And I'm seeing people every day that are embodying narratives from their orthopedic surgeon, from their general practitioner, from a physical therapist, from a trainer, that they're broken, that they need to avoid X, Y, or Z. I want to change that narrative. I want to empower them. I want to surprise them. And we do it on day one by giving every single person that walks into our gym a positive experience with movement. And then we progress them till they find kind of my second principle of first principles of movement, to find the hardest thing that they feel safe doing. Douglas Kruger found that yesterday. And he told me, after he'd been telling me to go easy on him, that he was real important to Veggie Fest, that I should manage him away from all load because he's very fragile. And if you look at his legs, you'll see. He has these 90-year-old little twigs. But he's not fragile. He's not fragile. And you were a badass yesterday. So that hopefully was the beginning of opening your mind to let's do some of those punishing 40-second wall sits. So at this time, what I want everybody to do is scoot to the edge of your chair. I told you, I cannot just do slides, okay? You can get the slides later. Just email me. Jonathan Kruger, Veggie Fest will give you my email, so anything we don't get through. Scoot all the way forward. I want you to fold your arms. This is called the sarcopenia test. Who knows what sarcopenia is? What is it? Yeah, well, you lose muscle mass after the age of 40. You actually start to lose muscle mass at the age of 30. It accelerates after the age of 40 to about 1% per year, and then it accelerates and compounds over the age of 60. And if you let that slip away, you might as well just mail it in. It also is not just for fall prevention. So for postmenopausal women who already have a bone density problem, it's not just for fall prevention. It might be for somebody on Ozempic, because Ozempic not only takes away fat, it also takes away muscle. And muscle is very important for managing glucose because muscle is the biggest organ of your body and it's where you metabolize glucose. And if you don't have enough muscle, now you have a problem with insulin. So it's all kind of interconnected. So you're all at the edge of your chair. I want you to fold your arms like I dream of Jeannie. We're not going to blink, okay? But stand up. Don't use your hands. Just stand up. It's not easy. This is the sarcopenia test. Now sit back down and do it 4 more times. Oh, we got a speed demon here. Go, Speed Racer, go. Look at you. Holy smokes. So, what's your name? Rita. Rita is a savant. So, Rita just anticipated where we're headed. So, we do it without hand assist and see if a person has the first sign of frailty, which is sarcopenia. And that is the inability to get up and down from a chair 5 times in 15 seconds. But the second sign of a high fall risk is the inability to do it even a little faster. So just the ability to do it is a strength test. Like if I check your grip, and grip strength is important. It's as important as checking for hypertension, almost. It's associated. Weak grip doesn't cause cardiovascular disease, but they're strongly associated. The squat strength tells us how far away you are from that red area, that burgundy area. And you want to be able to do 5 of these in less than 15 seconds as a measure not just of strength, but of power. And power sounds like it's for athletes. No, nobody moves faster than a person when they stumble and they try to catch themselves. Nobody moves faster. It is a faster movement when a person is catching themselves when they trip than any NFL athlete at the Super Bowl, including the wide receivers, the defensive backs, the safeties, the running backs. Maybe the quarterback trying to avoid being hit by a 350-pound missile. But we want to build this up. So let's do it again, and I want you to focus on speed this time. So fold your arms, get to the edge of the chair, and we'll do it as a group. We're a group here. Everybody wait. Everybody wait. Fold those arms, scoot to the edge. Ready, on your mark, get set, go. All the way up and down. There you go. There you go. There you go. A wonderful spiritual phrase Doug Frankel knows. Start with like. We got to start somewhere, right? So we didn't get all the way up. Now I can progress you. Next time we can go all the way up. And my patients, my clients, my teammates, we work together, and eventually we give them a little weight. And then we give them a bigger weight. And sometimes we get bored of giving them a bigger weight, so we say, let's do more reps. And then we say, let's try more sets. So you can vary these stimuli in order to build robust physiological adaptations. I have to say, you're very compliant. So physical inactivity has not been recognized by the AMA as a potent risk factor for a disease, but I would suggest that that is a gross error. I would say that cardiologists recognize it because they all tell people, your blood pressure is up, your cholesterol's off, your lipids are off, start moving, I'll retest in 6 months to a year. If it doesn't change, I'll give you the pills. Orthopedic surgeons, you go in with a bum hip, they're doing a scan, everybody's scan shows some wrinkle. It's BS. It's hype. And if you're not bone on bone, they say, I'll see you in 5 years. There is no prevention. They're not sending people to Kenny. They're not sending people to Steve at Naperville Adult Personal Training. But that's what should be happening. The costs are astronomical, $500 billion. And who is most affected? I mentioned the women here. Well, absolutely, you are ground zero for this because as Kenny suggested, women are doing Pilates, they're doing yoga, they're on the spin bike, but they're not doing strength training. And they probably need to do strength training more than the men. And the men, sometimes they're doing strength training, but they got a big gut. They got big arms and a big gut. There's a blind spot here. We all have blind spots. This is about being humble. This is about being, as my mentor, Professor Karol Levitt, who was a neurologist in Prague, he passed away about 12 years ago, and I met him when he was in his 70s. He said we should keep an open mind for new ideas, even if they sometimes show that what we thought or believed before was wrong. And when I heard that, all I could think about was the teachings that I learned about positive mysticism. All I could think about was, my God, this is humility. This isn't a know-it-all. And everybody in my space, they're all know-it-alls. They have all the answers. I don't have any answers. I accept uncertainty, and every person is different. And so every person I see, me and my teammate, Desiree, we ask people, what matters to you? And this is the hinge. This is the hinge from doctor-centered to patient-centered, from patient-centered to person-centered. I want to know what matters to people. I don't have the answer for all of their ailments and all their aches and all their woes, but I know I can empower people. I know I can build up their self-efficacy, the confidence that they can function, the ability to cope. We've created a palliative society where everybody wants all pain gone. This is BS. And we've created it. Chiropractors, physical therapists, physiatrists, orthopedic surgeons, general practitioners. Wouldn't it be nicer if we taught people how to have resiliency? Because that's life. There was a study on children in Hawaii, in Honolulu, that were at a very young age, their parents passed away in tragedy. And they studied these children at a grief center in Columbia and at another grief lab at University of Minnesota. And what they found was when they looked back at them when they were 20 or 22, they found half of them became exposed to like juvenile delinquency, crime, drug abuse, and the other half were high functioning. And then they dug in retrospectively to what was going on. It turned out the distinguishing feature was the presence or absence of support. Those that thrived had an uncle or an aunt or a grandparent. Now imagine you're diabetic from poor lifestyle. How are you going to support somebody else? We want your health span to last your lifespan so you can be there for others. I think you concluded your talk yesterday talking about what can we do to leave this planet a better place. It's obviously about the ecology. When I started going to China, people were not using motorized vehicles there for locomotion, for transportation. By the time I stopped going to China, Beijing was the most polluted city in the world. We want to use more human locomotion. If we get more people to take 5,000 to 7,000 steps a day, you don't need 10 like Kenny G said. We're going to prevent heart disease. We're going to build lean muscle mass. We're going to improve mood so there's less depression. And we're going to help the environment. These things are all part of a syndemic. So menopause is linked to muscle and bone density decline, making falls and fractures more likely. I want to share with you a story of resilience from one of my favorite people that I'm blessed to work with, Carol, who's a wonderful attorney. She helps Indian tribes obtain better access to the rights that they so well deserve.
Look at that. What did your doctor say?
She said she particularly regrets that it's difficult to convince women to do upper body strength training, and this was my response.
Look at that. You're motivated.
Yeah, no, with that, I told her, you don't have to convince me.
What is your motivation? Why are you motivated?
Well-
why are you the outlier?
Well, partly because I have to do so much because my husband has Alzheimer's. So I have to carry more things. I have to be intact.
You have to train for this. You have to be in tip-top shape.
Exactly. I can't afford to trip on an uneven sidewalk or fall or for any reason.
You're being counted on.
I am being counted on more than ever. I mean, I've always been a person people could count on, but this is taking it to another level. And my daughter counts on me because of her needs with my grandson. So that's part of the motivation, but it's not the only part. The other part is seeing older women with flabby arms. That's it. I don't want that.
It's not necessary.
There's nothing wrong with
I
that.
will resist it as long as I can.
I love it.
So I didn't want to leave today without introducing you to some of the people that bless LA Sports and Spine that I'm so fortunate to be able to work with. I have legions of examples of people like this, of every age, with every disability, people who are trying to avoid surgery, people who've had surgery, people who've been misled, by other chiropractors, by other orthopedic doctors. We just want to give people a chance to live the life and to pursue the things that are valuable to them, which is why we always start by finding out what people's story is. I want to find out what they value and what's important to them. I don't want it to just be about their symptoms. I want to find out, what would you do if you didn't have your pain? And that moves the goalposts. It's a very subtle thing, but it's very powerful. Instead of just talking about what's the cause of the pain, how are we going to fix it, how are we going to get rid of it, we're now talking about how are we going to get you back to activity. And it becomes more about tolerance than elimination. And so this little subtle sleight of hand is something that we use very successfully and effectively. It actually has a name. It's called cognitive behavioral therapy. Who's heard of cognitive behavioral therapy? And a twin of it, which is maybe even more popular today in psychology, is called ACT. Who knows what ACT stands for? Acceptance and commitment therapy. Too many times, chiropractors and physical therapists and orthopedists are telling people we can cure them or fix them. First of all, people aren't broken. You're not broken. You are resilient. You're not fragile. You're anti-fragile. My job is to create the environment that gives you the evidence. You want to walk out of Kenny's facility or Steven's, raise your hand, Steve. Steven's, stand up, Steve. Steve's place, he sponsored us today. Feeling stronger than when you walked in, feeling more confident than when you walked in, feeling more at ease. Because what is dis-ease? Dis-ease is a lack of ease. I want people to feel more at ease. So all these words, they have meaning. And I am just so privileged. I feel so much grace to be invited here, to be able to share with all of you the things that I've been fortunate to be able to study and to learn, and for your company and your community today. So thank you all very, 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 very much. Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Dr. Liebenson. We can all say that was incredibly inspirational. I'm so happy I got to be a part of that. Thank you to Steve with Powerful Beyond Measure in Naperville for bringing out Dr. Liebenson. Steve, stand up, please. Everybody thank Steve for bringing him out here. We're excited that you were at Veggie Fest, and Dr. Liebenson. And Steve, please come back every year because we would love to have you again. Thank you all for coming. We hope you have a wonderful time, and happy Veggie Fest to all. Take care.